What is the one thing about orientation you don't like?
Uh, One thing when it's not paid. No, I'd probably have to say the food they provide during orientation. They talk about how they provide breakfast and lunch, and then when lunch ends up being Subway.
I'm surprised that somebody said that because the breakfast ain't shit. They
Or it wasn't much to begin with.
the continental breakfast at the hotel ain't shit. You know what I'm saying?
Berry muffin
I
and a
mean,
bowl of cereal.
yeah, and that's about it. They consider that when you talk to the recruiters, be like, yeah, well, you know, we we provide you your breakfast and your lunch, but you got to provide your own dinner. But and like you said, as far as lunch goes, yeah, lunch ain't nothing but like Subway or a fast food joint. But the last,
I had a few companies that actually provided a good lunch. I had one that had a really decent dinner. The hotel they put us in, they gave us a kind of like a coupon thing, that entitled us to pretty much any dinner item off of the menu at the hotel restaurant.
well,
So
the last few companies that I've been with, well, I know U.S. Express, they lunch was pretty shitty. Jan
I
on the
did orientation for
Spool.
US Express. I remember it wasn't very good. I don't remember what it was, but I remember it wasn't anything
Yeah, it wasn't.
spectacular. In fact, I
Yeah,
think the one I did, I think it was Subway.
I can't remember what ours was, but it was shitty.
That's the one.
I know, right? All right, Loves, TA, Petro, Pilot, or Flying J.
For what?
Which,
Because
which,
honestly, I have mixed
which,
opinions on all of them.
well, which ones do you rock with? Which ones do you rock with? You rock with the Pilot, the
Well,
Petro,
with
the TA.
Martin, they only want us fueling at the Pilot Flying J. So that's where my showers usually are. But I think Love's has a better rewards program. And then TA Petro, I pretty much only use them for parking if I have to. I don't fuel there. I don't really shower there. I haven't even gone fuel at TA Petro in almost a year now.
Oh, that's my spot.
But the
I mess with Minnesota. Which one though?
Quick Star, or I'm sorry,
Okay,
Quick Trip, Quick
quick.
Star and Quick Trip. They're but with the K, not the Q.
Man, listen. That I mean, it's fucking awesome in there because you can like
Yes,
go in
it
there
is.
and buy groceries.
Exactly.
So I mean, how come the other major fuel stops can't be like them? Because you can actually go in there and buy meat, eggs,
And it's good quality
products.
meat too. I just bought a couple. I was up there, what, 3, 4 weeks ago, something like that. I was up there in 2 Mile, Wisconsin, doing the Walmart dedicated there for a couple days over the weekend, and yeah, I went to a quick trip up there in 2 Mile. Yeah, I got a couple of I think they were ribeye steaks. They were ribeyes, they were sirloins. They were like
Oh,
$7
right.
each, almost a pound,
And
and
you
they were good
just slap it
quality.
on and you slap it on a Foreman grill. Oh my God.
That's exactly what I did, right there on my George Foreman grill.
Graham McNally or Garmin?
I started with a Garmin. It got me into some trouble spots several times. I switched to Rand McNally, but lately their quality on their products has become garbage. And to put into a small perspective, there's a stretch of highway in California between Barstow and Bakersfield.
Mm-hmm.
Was it California 99? I think it is. No, not 99, but it's California 60. State Highway 60. They basically, got rid of the old highway and rebuilt it some like 5 miles south of the original location. They finished that about 4 or 5 years ago. Brand McNally still doesn't have it updated in their map. When you're driving across that highway, thinks you're driving across some dirt road and it's trying to
Bro,
reroute you, and it's just a
wow.
mess. And that was 4 or 5 years ago that was finished, and they still don't have it updated.
Well, I fuss with the Ram McNally. I try to keep it. As a matter of fact, while I'm here at the house, I'm gonna try and update it again because
My Qualcomm one, just to make the company happy,
Mm-hmm.
And then I will use Google Maps as just kind of a little overview how much further I have to go. I'll refresh it every, like 30 miles, keep updated on traffic, stuff like that, get an idea of what kind of roads it wants to put me on. And I use Waze as an active GPS. But I'm a smart driver. I read my road signs and I don't end up in places I shouldn't usually.
Man, bump all that. Fuck that Qualcomm shit. The
No, I
company,
only use it because the company makes us.
the 3 best words to describe you.
Silly, weird, energetic.
All right. All right. I need this one, man. So hopefully you can help me out with this one, my J. One movie you can watch over and over.
Oh, that's a tough one here. That's a tough one. Gosh, can you at least narrow it down to a genre?
One movie.
One movie.
One movie you can watch over and over again. It could be any
that
genre.
really is a tough one there. It's technically a musical / play originally, but they made a movie out of it of sorts, and that's Rent.
All right. Now,
I'm jumping off, is this a needed suicide? I hope my parachute don't let me down. I hope I get the fly. I don't know why I feel like I gotta die to be alive. I don't know why it feel like people are standing still with no desire. I'm on a wire, wobbling back and forth, the balance clown. I won't be happy if I'm not moving forward, then send me down. My vibration for eternity will continue to come around. So I gotta do this right, I gotta live, I gotta.
what's going on, everybody? Lockoutmen back again with another one for you guys. Welcome back to the Lockoutmen podcast show. We're reparking Politic with all our guests tonight. That is what's up. I appreciate you guys watching. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just show me so much love, man. Yo, let's get these lights up. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say that because, this is being pre-recorded. It's like when I premiere and I see you guys in the comment, y'all actually think that, when y'all be talking and talking to me, I can't get a chance to comment back because either I'm driving or I'm doing something else and I will come in to see it late. But just know that this is pre-recorded, all right? But anyway, I appreciate you guys being here. I am your host, Lockoutmen, and tonight's special guest is my man, David Wright. There we go. So, bro, we about to just jump right into this, man. First thing first, I appreciate you coming on right quick, man.
No problem.
Give me a little bit of history about David Wright, where you started, why you got into trucking and all that other good stuff.
Well, once upon a time in a town in Southern California. I'm just kidding. So I just turned 32 years old. I'm still kind of a young scutter, though. Get to that point where I don't feel it anymore. Definitely feeling age catching up. But I've dropped out of high school at 10th grade, got my GED when I was 23, did a little bit of college beforehand. I did most of my college after some AmeriCorps years. I almost have an associate's in welding.
That boy say almost.
Well, I'm 3 welding classes away, right? 1, 2, yeah, three welding classes and 2 core classes. I think I have a history and a math class I need to take. So I'm 5 classes away from having associates. That's out of 15, 20 classes. So I'm pretty close to it, but trucking, I don't have the time for college anymore. So I kind of put that on the back burner there for a while. I kind of had a bit of a difficult time there where, just didn't really know what I was doing with my life and couldn't really decide on a major in college or anything. And ended up moving out from my mother and living on my own for a few years. That That went real rough. Like really, really bad. I can tell you, you have not really experienced fear until you are days from living on the street. That is a truly scary feeling to have when you don't know where you will be sleeping the next day. And I literally got to that point. So things got really, really low in my life. My mother had heard about a program that's very similar to the Peace Corps called AmeriCorps. It's a federal volunteer program. They have 5 different regions they cover, and showed me about it. It's like, yeah, they pretty much a 10-month program there. They you get to help out volunteering type stuff, what you love to do. They provide your food, your housing, your transportation, everything covered there, and they give you a living stipend to live on. And then afterwards, they'll give you money for college. It's like, great, I'll check it out there. And so I went online, looked it up, applied for it, and following year, I was on a train ride up to Baltimore, Maryland there for my first year of it.
So
Did my
this is-
10 months.
So
Go ahead.
This program that you speaking of, AmeriCorps, NCCC.
Of course. That's one thing that they will definitely call you out on. They do not like being called, as core members, do not be called AmeriCorps.
So it's
we're not dead. We're not the living dead.
it's a AmeriCorps.
AmeriCorps, like Marine Corps.
Oh, okay. And this is like what, a federally run program. Is this
Correct.
where you went to go and get your CDL?
Not exactly. Yeah. That's where I ended up getting a lot of my knowledge and learning how to manage money better. I learned a lot of good life skills. I learned how to work with people better. It's very big on the team building. I could go on for a whole podcast on that subject alone, just about AmeriCorps. Yeah, so I'm not going to drown you with all the details.
We don't have that much time.
Exactly. So I won't bore you with all that, but it is a federal volunteer program. It's funded by the federal government. They got to fight for their funding every single year, just about. And so I did that for 2 terms. First one in the Atlantic region, second one in the Southern region out of Mississippi.
Now this is voluntary, right?
Yes, it is. You're classified as a volunteer, and they give you a living stipend of like $180 every 2 weeks. But they cover your food. You learn how to live on $4.25 a day for food. But that's spread. That's each person on your team gets that, and you shop and eat. Cook as a team. You get shopping once a week, so it works out to like $280 for a 10-person team. You learn how to make that work, and you'd be surprised. $280 can go pretty far for a 10-person team per week.
So you reached out to me. Now this is all before trucking. How long has it been since you've been driving trucks?
I've been driving since the beginning of 2016, so this makes my 5th year now.
Okay, all right. So 5 years. So 5 years prior, you reached out to me to tell me a little bit about Amazon, because I think I went on a little rant about Amazon and how they treat people. Now you said in the green room that you only worked there for a month. Do you think you have well, I know this is your experience, but do you think you have enough knowledge to let people know about Amazon when they work there?
I'd say so. And like I said in the green room, I kind of had a mixed feelings on it. Like you mentioned in your video there with that rant about how you only get like 30 minutes for a lunch and take like 15 minutes just to get to the area where you take your lunch break.
How is that, bro? Because I mean, I hear working at Amazon, I hear they're very anal about everything. So
they can be.
If the lunchroom is like all the way in the back, I know some of these Amazon. I know where these places, like the one up at North Randall, is on the site of the old Randall Park Mall. That was my spot back in the day. So I know
See,
from point A to point B over there, and I can imagine how it is there. And then the one over here at Euclid, I can imagine how it
here's
is
the
over there.
problem with them is it's not even so much the issue of getting from one side of the building to the other. It's that you have to follow a certain pathway because they don't want you, getting in the way of their machines, and they have conveyor belts that go and zigzag all over the place. They got their one area. They have what do they call them? These little robot things that was a new technology at the time. That the pickers, people that pick the product, they go and they type in a little code, and a little robot, kind of like a Roomba but bigger, would go to the shelf, pick it up, and bring the shelf to the picker. So they just had to, grab that off the shelf right then and there. Beforehand, these pickers used to have to walk like 20 miles a day up and down these roads, and this made their job a lot easier. So certain areas you couldn't go, and so you had to, kind of take a certain pathway around all this stuff. And it was crazy. And my job was working in the shipping area, because they receive stuff at the warehouse too, and they have other departments. And primarily, they had me loading trucks. I hated that so much because it was literally box by box by box, and they wanted it Tetris style. And I tell you what, I feel so bad if a driver ever to open the door, because it's like, man, that's going to totally fall on them when they open the door.
Now let's get into the logistics of working at Amazon. Now you only worked there during the Christmas season?
Yeah, it's their busy season there, and they had mandatory overtime. That was a requirement during the busy seasons. They required you to work something like, 10 or 12 hours of overtime. Now you got time and a half pay, still. And at the time when I worked there, it was paying like $12.50 an hour. I hear now from your video and what I've heard, they're paying like $15 an hour now. So
you say when you started there, you said how much you started at 12?
$12.50 an hour.
$12.50?
Which at that time was really good. Very few companies were paying, $12.50 an hour for very few companies were paying more than $10 an hour back then. This was 2015, I think.
Did you work for Amazon, or was it a temp agency?
It was actually work for Amazon at their warehouse here in Schertz, Texas. It was a really big warehouse. I had never seen a warehouse or been inside of a building that big in a, flat landscape, not talking height wise, like lengthwise. I've never been in a building that big ever. I don't think I've been to a mall that big.
Now I was talking about Amazon, and some of the people there feel some kind of way as far as the work conditions there. They said that they're in the process of trying to get it unionized. Now, being that Amazon is not a union, of course they can pretty much treat you guys any old kind of way. What was the work style there? Like, you guys, I know you guys work on a point system. So tell me about what the work style there.
Well, like I said, they primarily had me working loading the trucks. They also had a few other positions in my department, such as the packers. I like doing that. It was easy work, in my opinion. It was very, very, very fast paced. I can't remember the exact number, but I want to say it was something like 70 or 80 packages packed and or scanned, because some things didn't get put in boxes. Some things, they were shipped in their own packaging, like sewing machines, for example. But basically, you had to process 80 packages an hour on average. Do the math on that one. That's less than a minute for each one. It was basically this, the stuff would come down this yellow bin. You pulled it. You had a little elevator thing here in front of you, that raised up to the conveyor belt level there. You pulled thing forward there, scanned it with the laser gun there, and told you what size box to use. You grab that box, hit the button on the tape dispenser, tape it, assemble the box, throw it in the box, throw some dunnage paper in there, tape it shut, slap the label on it, scan it, and then shove it on a different conveyor belt that takes it through the whole rest of the system there. All that 80 times an hour. Very fast paced. I didn't get to do that very often though. And this is one thing that bothered me. I thought there was a level of sexism there, because they usually had the women doing that. Me being a guy, they usually had me loading the trucks. I think I only ever saw a woman, a lady, load the trucks one time ever in the month and a half I was there.
So this is working at Amazon in the warehouse it was strenuous work for you guys. Oh
yes, especially loading trucks, because you had to literally, you've been inside your trailer, so you know how tall those things are. They wanted those loaded floor to ceiling as much as you could possibly do, plus Tetris style, to try and support it. Some things were heavy. The little conveyor belt went into the trailer at least. They had a little button there that rolled into the trailer. So you didn't have to carry it from one end to the other, but still you had to stack stuff a lot and climb these old plastic steps, to get to the top, level, because obviously none of us are 10 feet tall. So yeah, it was very strenuous, very fast paced.
Okay. That's what's up.
And as you mentioned, yes, it took a while to get to the break area. And you had a clock out, for your breaks. So technically your break didn't start until you clocked out.
So
you took a while to get there.
Wait, so I am correct that the break room is like all the way in the back, but you had to you couldn't clock out when you actually get there. You had to clock out and then use your break time to get there.
Not exactly. No. You clocked it. Time clocks are next to the break rooms.
Okay.
So you had to go to the break rooms. But if you obviously were taking an excessive amount of time, between when your break time was and when you actually clocked out, you're going to hear from your supervisor.
So how long is the break?
If I recall, it's going back to the memory moments here. And like I said, I'm 32 now, so it's catching up to me, but I want to say it was a 30-minute lunch break.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they gave us a 2 15-minute breaks, I believe. That's what I want to say. Yeah.
So 2 15s and a 30. So technically an hour, but 15 in the morning, half an hour like in the middle of the day, and then 15 before you leave.
Yeah, and I think so. I think that's what it was. And then of course the 15s were paid break time. And then 30 minutes,
half an hour was
unpaid with your lunch break. Yeah.
All right. So did you said mandatory overtime, $12.50 an hour. What was your take home pay? And how did y'all get paid? Y'all got paid every week, every 2 weeks?
I don't remember what the pay frequency was, but I want to say it was weekly, but I don't remember anymore, to be honest. I remember my paychecks were good. I want to say they were in like I don't remember. I'm too lazy to calculate it, but I want to say they were in like the $600 range. I want to say.
Okay.
I mean, that was pulling 50, 55 hours a week, because I was scheduled 40 hours, and then it was that overtime on top of it. It was working. I think it was working 6 days a week. I don't remember that.
I used to work in the factory. I used to work for Nestle, and it was pretty cool. I started off, as a matter of fact, I just found some of my old paychecks from Nestle, and I started
Nostalgia.
off. I know, right? I started off at $15.95 an hour, and then I think I got a couple of raises, and I was up at like $17 an hour. But then I looked at it, I had to, oh my God, it was crazy, because we had to work a Saturday. It was a mandatory Saturday out of the month. and I dread when my name came up for a fucking Saturday because I was not a fan of working Saturdays at Nestle, man. It was not all that hot. So you only worked there for the Christmas season.
Sure. Yeah.
Did they let you go, or
Yeah,
they just
and
said the
that's
Christmas
another
season
thing.
was up, or how did they come to you guys? They just gave you your last paycheck and just said thank you? What?
Well, for me, they let me go technically before the season ended. Um, and their reasoning for it, which was really stupid, and I think it was kind of an attempt to avoid unemployment payments.
God,
Companies will try to do that whenever they can.
yeah.
Um, because the morning of, I was back then I had a motorcycle, and that was my transportation to and from work.
Mhm.
And it had rained, and about a block away from work, I laid the bike down when I was coming to a traffic light. My brakes locked up, and it slid out from under me, and I was going really slow, so I didn't get hurt or anything. Just kind of bruised my ego. That's about it. But I told them about it, and they were like, "Well, we want to make sure you're not hurt or anything, so you got to go see the on-site nurse." And it's kind of like a school has a nurse offices. Do schools have nurses offices anymore?
I don't
I
even
don't know.
know. Hey, let me
I don't even know if they do
let me ask
anymore.
my
But
son. Hey, do you remember when you was in high school? Do they still got nurses' office there? There you go. There you go.
I didn't
I
hear what
know
he
when
said.
I know when I went, I did shit. We had a nurse there all the time. You
Yeah.
know, from when we got into school until we left. So I don't know. My son said, they hardly ever there. So, but
Yeah, well,
that's crazy.
Amazon has an on-site nurse. They have one there at all times of the day. So if you get hurt on the job or you're not feeling well, whatever, you can go see the nurse, and they can give you some over-the-counter stuff or whatever. But if it's like something serious, they can advise you to go to urgent care or call an ambulance, that kind of stuff. Basically, the equivalent of what a school nurse could do.
Now, as
And so
far
they made me go see the school nurse to make sure that I wasn't like injured or anything, because they didn't want to, risk a workman's comp or anything if I got hurt on the job as a result of my motorcycle accident. And the nurse told me I needed to go see a doctor and get checked out to make sure I wasn't hurt or anything. And it's like, you could have a injury that you don't know about. And it's like, I feel fine. It didn't even like fall off the bike. It just like literally slid out from under me. I was going like 2 miles an hour at the point. But they made me do it. And then the Amazon HR talked to me, and they basically let me go at that point.
they let you go because you fell off your bike?
They were afraid I'd get hurt on the job or something like that.
Wow.
So, yeah. And
all right, working at Amazon, I mean, how was the treatment of the employees by upper management or by management?
I don't recall having too much interaction with any kind of upper management, short of when I got hired on. But there was a direct supervisor, and he was a pretty cool person. Don't have any issues with him. My biggest beef was, excuse me, Coca-Cola's catching up to me there. Got that Coca-Cola vanilla coffee there.
You better leave that alone, bro. Ain't you about to? Well, we'll talk about that in a second.
I don't drink much coffee stuff on, but anyways, my biggest issue with him was that he'd say he's going to give me something else to do, so I wasn't always doing the same thing. Loading those trucks, because that was exhausting, doing that 12 hours a day. What was it, 12 hours? Was it 10? I don't remember what it was, 10 or 12 hours a day, whatever it was. It was exhausting. And a capacity is like, I like doing picking. Can I do that? And sometimes they'd have me doing this thing where it's like collecting the yellow totes, because as I mentioned, 80 packages processed an hour for the pickers. Well, sometimes the system would get overloaded with these yellow totes that the stuff came in, and there'd be nowhere for the pickers to put them on the conveyor belt system. So they'd have to start stacking them in their station there. And then they'd have a guy or two come around with like a little cart that would come around and gather them up, to take them, to the end of the line, so you get put back on the system there for the other pickers there. It was kind of boring, but it had to be done. And working faster than the machine could.
So inside the logistic place, this Amazon, I wish I had but what was all the stuff like? I mean, the warehouses are freaking huge.
Yes, they are.
And it's like you get, I mean, everything is under the mat in Amazon. I mean, from kitchen appliances to hygiene products. What was some of the strangest stuff?
From A to Z.
Yeah, what was some of the strangest stuff that you guys that you seen that came through Amazon?
Most of, like I said, I was loading the trucks mostly, so most of the time it was just brown boxes is all I was seeing. There were a few things that were shipped in their own packaging, like sewing machines and home theater system type deals. They came in these like L-shaped boxes, sort of like, I don't know if you've ever seen the boxes they come. They're kind of like long, and then at the end they have like a kind of a corner, like a 45-degree angle part of the box. Those were a pain. Oh my God, those are such a pain to try and stack those Tetris style in a trailer because you can't. But anyways, back to that. Some of the weirdest things, every so often we ship like posters or maps and stuff. That was kind of weird. It's like, who orders a map or poster? I'm talking like a roll-up map or poster. Like, who orders that on Amazon? And it was funny when you get things like these sound systems and sewing machines. When I was loading them, there'd always be like 100 of them at a time that would come through, and it's like, what, did Amazon have a sale on this sewing machine today or something?
Before we move on, did they have like a store for you guys? Like, don't the warehouses, like, do they have a consumer store? Like, if I was to order something today, instead of it being delivered to me, I could actually go to the Amazon fulfillment center and pick it up there. Do they have something like that?
Not at the time. They didn't. I don't think they do nowadays either. I know they have those lockers that you see at some of the truck stops, and some like Walmarts have them too. I've seen those where you can have like a package shipped to like the Walmart and they'll put it in an Amazon locker. I've seen those, but I don't think they have any kind of in-person pickup. Although I have been hearing that a lot of warehouses are experimenting with that idea with the whole COVID thing, eliminating the whole logistics mess of having it shipped from warehouse to Walmart. And because we're going to Walmart to buy it, they can just go straight to the warehouse and buy it if they happen to be in the area.
All right. So, brother,
I'll have to get in touch with you on that. There's a video I was watching about that idea. I'll have to get that to you later.
So, brother, man, you started trucking back in what, 2016?
Mm-hmm.
So did you go to a trucking school, or did you go to
I did. I went to a private trucking school when I was deciding that the welding thing wasn't going to really work out too well for a career. So I'll tell you right now, I wasn't really wanting to do welding as a career. I was doing that because of a college I wanted to get into. If you have a degree already, and the higher your degree, the higher up on the acceptance list you are for the program. And I wanted to do something with animals, but I didn't want to be a vet. I have no interest in being a veterinarian. And at the time I wanted to be like a commissary, someone who prepares special diets for animals. But then I learned that doesn't pay very well. That's like $10 an hour at the National Zoo in Washington, D.C. That's pretty poor pay for D.C. And so that didn't work out. So I decided to, stop the welding thing. And I was like, what else do I like to do? I love to travel. I love driving. When I was in AmeriCorps, I took every opportunity I could to be the driver when we were going to our projects in the different states. Our projects, I mean like assignments, not not like low income housing.
So was the school out of pocket, or was it a grant?
I did a mixture. I used it was a state grant, paid for some of it, and then I'm a kind of a trust fund baby. I had a great uncle who had a trust fund set up for all of the descendants of my biological father, that would pay for our college at the tuition rate of Nebraska State University up until we got a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And so it paid for the rest. And that worked out to something like $4,800 with books. Or book, I should say, wasn't books. But yeah, so I went to a private school. They were partnered with my local community college and the truck driving school. You may have heard of them because they're a nationwide one. Is not Roadmasters. It was Sage Truck Driving Academy. So yeah, the fact that they wouldn't help and they just kept taking payments, and yeah, I couldn't do it no more.
So with all the companies that you work for so far, I mean, I heard your frustration in a few of them, especially with this last one right here. But what before we move on, and because we're running out of time over here, but what was your what would motivate you for staying in trucking? I mean, with all the stuff that you went through with your past companies, what motivated you to stay and get with the current company where you at?
I'm good at it. I enjoy driving still. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is stressful, especially when you're driving through the cities, especially when you have the college towns and the holidays, spring break, and it gets frustrating, but I'm good at it, and I do enjoy driving overall. Honestly, I don't know what else I could do other than truck driving. I mean, before my AmeriCorps times, I worked retail, I worked in call centers doing customer service, and I vowed I'll never do that again, ever.
Okay.
So it's like I really don't know how to do anything else. I learned some skills in AmeriCorps, but I don't think I learned enough to put it towards a career that could pay enough. I mean, I make good money in trucking. I like it. Yeah, it's stressful, but it's worth it.
All right. So now that we're in the midst of this pandemic and everything, last year they pretty much shut everything down and pretty much changed the world as we look at it. But now this year, the new thing this year is everybody is getting that vaccine. Are you?
I just got my appointment scheduled for this Tuesday.
So you are taking the vaccine?
Yeah, I'm getting the Pfizer vaccine. After this delivery here tonight, I'm going home. I live here in San Antonio, so got an appointment scheduled for Tuesday.
Now let me ask you this. I see you a big guy over there. We also talked about you, setting up your appointment for your future surgery. But did you talk to your doctor before you decided to take the vaccine?
I haven't. However, I will tell you that one of the phase 3 qualifications, which is basically either having a serious illness or something that puts you at a high risk of it, is being severely overweight. In my case, having a BMI of 40 to 50 there or higher, pretty much basically anything over 30. Yeah, they had 3 different categories, but basically anything over 30 qualified you. And I haven't talked to my doctor about it. I did read that past bariatric surgery recipients who have gotten the vaccine have not had any adverse effects from it.
All right.
Nothing out of the norm, I should say.
Are you? Well, let me ask you. I'm a type 2 diabetic. Are you a diabetic or no?
I'm actually very happy to say that outside of being overweight, I'm extremely healthy. It's really funny because I've had my blood drawn, and I've had lab results every so often. Once when I was ATS, they thought I was having a heart attack because of some symptoms I was having. So they made me go to the doctor and go to the hospital and whatnot, and have my blood drawn. And I've had it drawn beforehand. Every single time, all of my stats, cholesterol, blood sugar, everything comes back in the green. Neither too low or too high, literally in perfect levels. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, here I am, 372 pounds. Last time I weighed myself. Can't even fit in clothes you buy at Walmart anymore. And outside of being big, I'm actually healthy. Like, I even have better stamina than people that are lighter and skinnier than me. It's the weirdest thing.
So what about, when is this, when is your surgery?
I don't have it scheduled yet because due to insurance requirements, I have a certain set of requirements I have to meet. One of them being that with my current insurance, my previous one, it was just 3 of these, but the current one I have to do 6 dietitian, like nutrition counseling meetings. They're kind of like Zoom calls like this. And I have to do one more still, and they have to be a month apart. And my last one is scheduled for April 9th. And it's just like a little 15-20 minute Zoom call, that she checks up on how I've been doing, offers me any advice, that kind of stuff, nothing too complicated. And then I have to do a psychiatric evaluation. I have no idea what that actually is. I've been trying to get a hold of them for a little while now to get that scheduled. But I do that. And then they said it takes, on average, about a month once they send the approval to the final approval to the insurance, saying, okay, he's done all this, sign off on it, pretty much. Takes them about a month to get that taken care of. And then it's just a matter of scheduling the appointment at that point. And my insurance is paying for most of it. My out-of-pocket cost is like $1,500, basically, plus whatever the hospital fee will be.
Where are you going to get it?
Here in San Antonio at the Sage Bariatric Institute.
Okay, that's what's up. Well, brother, man, thank you for coming over and chopping it up with me. I appreciate it. David W., everybody. Much success, good luck on the surgery.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? When you talk to the doctor about getting the surgery, did he give you any idea on when you'll start seeing some results from it?
Yeah. Most patients, they lose 60 or 70% of their excess weight within the first year. I'm getting the gastric bypass because there's actually like 3 different types of bariatric surgery. There's a sleeve, the bypass, and one other one. I forget the name of it. I'm getting the bypass. And that's basically where they make my stomach significantly smaller. And the other one's like the pouch or something like that. Yeah. And the worst part of this is, the long-term worst part of this is that I will have to take bariatric suitable multivitamins for the rest of my life. Like, there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I have to take this multivitamin that's suitable for bariatric surgery patients, plus calcium supplements for the rest of my life. Beforehand, I have to be on a liquid diet, a high protein, low calorie, liquid diet. That purpose, that is to reduce the size of my liver, because obese people usually have oversized livers, and the liver sits on top of your stomach, which can cause complications. And then afterwards, my initial dietary requirements are going to be kind of stupid. I have to be on a clear liquids only diet for the initial first few days. Then I can have colored liquids like, chicken broth, for example. Then it moves on to pureed foods. Consistency of applesauce, basically, is what they've said. And it's like, I'm trying to picture this out because they recommend you can have things like chicken breast. It's like, you want me to throw chicken breast in a blender and hit puree and eat that? That just sounds nasty. But then after that, it becomes more normalized, and it's just watching. I have to, standard dietary requirements.
So again, man, definitely good luck on that.
I'm scared, but at the same time excited.
What was, now let me ask you this. Did all your weight gain, did you gain it all while you was in trucking, or
I gained almost all of this in my first year of trucking. I was night, because at the time they did not allow inverters. Now they have their own company installed ones. And it was it was next to impossible to cook on the truck. As you know, working out on the truck is not an easy thing, especially, you said, I heard on your podcast premiere, you're pretty much running your entire 11.
Yeah, I mean,
don't have much time to work out.
The companies, they really, I mean, once to be really truly honest, I mean, I'd say that it's the company's fault for, like running the drivers the way they run them. It's like you wake up in the morning and you driving, and then you're so tired, you're so exhausted.
Yeah, you're shut down. You're lucky if you haven't come for a shower.
Right.
You're so tired. And then some of these places where you get your showers, that they have long wait times, and it's crazy. You don't have time to work out, and eating healthy is hard on the road. And
I mean, it's crazy. I know a lot of people say that, that it's up to us to make the time, but in all honesty, it really isn't.
If I can give a little bit of a shout out to a Facebook group that I'm part of called Big Truck Cooking. They are a great resource for truckers because they're all focused around cooking on the truck, but not just with household appliances. We got some drivers there, they're limited to just the 12-volt appliances. I'm sure you probably started with it too, the old lunchbox cooker. You ain't a trucker unless you've used that at least once.
Right.
It's kind of like initiation type thing there. Every trucker uses one at least once. So they have drivers in that group that even use that, and people share recipes, they share photos of what they've made, advice, ways to eat healthier, all that kind of stuff there. So if I can give a quick shout out there to Big Truck Cooking, I highly recommend it to people if they need help with trying to cook on the truck, whether they're limited to 12-volt appliances, or like me, they got this wonderful, beautiful Glance microwave.
Right.
This your year, get it in. Party over here, get it in. She like a liquor clear, get it in. She get it from a deal, get it in. Make it disappear, get it in. Park it in the rear, get it in. Now make it reappear, get it in. Freak it with no fear, get it in. Pop it in the clutch, girl, get it in gear. Jump on it, double dutch, girl, get it in gear. Drop it, double clutch, girl, get it in gear. Pump it up, butt lift, now downshift.